hey now, it's Denise, and I have something special just for you. Now, did you know it's ride or die season? And this is your personal invitation to be a part of it all. My signature DeniseTaylor.live event, Couples Love Week, is coming soon. Now, you know, with Couples Love Week, we go deep on love, relationship, and winning together. And this time, we're talking with 5 ride or die couples, anchoring in on faith, love, family, commitment, and trust. Now, you don't want to miss it. Whether you're single, married, divorced, widow, or anything in between, these ride or die nuggets are for us all. Couples Love Week is a virtual event, so no matter where you are in the world, you can join us live right online. 5 ride or die nights with 5 ride or die couples that will bless you indeed. So mark your calendars, February 7th through the 11th, right before Valentine's Day. This event is totally free, but you must register to attend. Get more information on my website, and you can register there too. It's www.DeniseTaylor.live. Join in and invite a friend. Again, register on my website at www.DeniseTaylor.live. For the longest time, I secretly wanted more. I often found myself shrinking to fit in, settling for what was comfortable, and even selling myself short. Once I finally accepted that we deserve success and we are blessed with the power to achieve it, I stopped playing small. I'm serious about building a life I love, and you should be too. I'm Denise Taylor of DeniseTaylor.live, and welcome to Life, Love, and the Pursuit of Happiness. I help women prioritize themselves, their success, and their happiness. Let's meet this week's achiever whose story will inspire you to push past your fears and soar. Well, hello there. This is Denise Taylor, and it's always my pleasure to welcome you each and every week to Life, Love, and the Pursuit of Happiness. This is where we believe that you can build a life that you love without apology. And even more, I believe that we have been graced with the power to do it. Now, you have caught us in the midst of a rewind. We are playing back the awesome conversations that I had with 5 fantastic couples during Couples Love Week, the fall edition. And today we're going to meet up with the newbies, Elliott and Siegel. Now, being the newbies, that means they were just married. And so we got a chance to celebrate the new beginning with them. We enjoyed their beautiful love story. We talked about the proposal, and of course, we talked about their wedding day. We were able to unpack their love journey and discover more about how they knew one another was the one to love, honor, and cherish forever. So take a listen to this blossoming love story. And it is always my pleasure to have you join me each and every week here on Life, Love, in the Pursuit of Happiness. So without further ado, I want to welcome this newlywed couple, Elliott and Siegel, to the virtual stage. There they are, looking young and in love. You know, it's so crazy for me to think about Siegel being a bride. I remember when Siegel was a little girl, and now she's a grown woman. But Siegel, guess what I want to say to you? As I was looking at that commercial loop through, I'll tell you what crossed my mind. There are brides, and then there are beautiful brides, and then there are beautiful brides. And you, my dear, you were a very beautiful bride. And I hope that all that you radiated was an indication of how special you thought that day was. And I know you guys are going to tell us all about it, so I cannot wait to hear. But when I looked at you guys and how captivating you looked on that day, I pray that God blended you so intermingled that you can't tell one another apart, and that he united you in love, peace, and unity. That's what I pray for you guys all the time. Love, peace, and unity, so that you can go the distance. So you were a beautiful bride. And I am so excited to introduce Elliot, meet Elliot. He and I had a good time during our meet and greet. So this is going to be wonderful. So welcome to you both. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. And we are going to just jump right in. Now, it's a tradition with Couples Love Week that you guys get a chance to introduce one another. So now, Elliot, I'm going to tell you, you're new at this husband thing, but this is your chance to lay it on real thick, okay? This is your chance to pull out all the adjectives you know and tell us about your beautiful wife.
Okay. So this is actually like the first time I'm introducing her to the world as my wife. So Siegel, beautiful, God-fearing, entrepreneur, kind-hearted, selfless. She's real quiet, but I mean, when she's comfortable, she'll talk to just about anybody. Otherwise, I mean, she's the sweetest person you'll ever meet.
That's beautiful. You did a great job. You did a great job. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. She is all of that. So Siegel, here you get a chance, my love. Introduce us to your handsome husband.
This is my wonderful and handsome Elliot. He is a hard worker. He is compassionate. He is kind. He puts up with me. He loves me. He shows me that he loves me. He's hardworking. He's diligent. He's smart. He's intelligent. He's everything to me. Okay.
All right. That's good. And wake up every day telling yourself just that, and you'll figure out how to love him through all the moments that you guys will face together. If you remember just what you said right there, it will help you get through each and every day. That's just some tidbits from somebody who's been at it for almost 27 years now, which I'm sure I'll continue to say that, but your love excites me. I love a great love story. I love the great promise of love. And when I look at you guys and just your desire to do it and bring God in it, that's the most beautiful part. And I'm excited for what he's going to do in your life. So Elliot, tell me about the moment you knew it was love and that you wanted to spend the rest of your life with Siegel.
Okay, so this is actually really refreshing. So for me, we dated almost a year before I actually kind of had a feeling. But I would say it was during my birthday. We took a trip to Nashville. And during that weekend, we had stayed at an Airbnb and everything. And I think that's probably one of our best trips we've ever spent together. And I want to say it might have been our first trip, but pretty much I was asleep. And so I wake up in the morning with a love letter next to like the dresser. And I'm like, wait, where did this come from? And so I'm reading it, and the entire time it's just her praying over me. And I said, wow, this is the first time I've ever had a woman pray over my life, and somebody that really showed me that she cared. And so I think at that moment, I kind of like, my eyes got watered up, and I was like, oh my God, this is real. So I think at that moment right there, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely marrying her.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. You know, what is most beautiful about that is you're right. To have someone pray for you, she has unleashed the most powerful thing that she could give you, which is her prayer. Doing that is giving her relationship to God, your attention to you in her relationship to God. And that is impactful. And I'm so glad that your heart was open and pliable enough to recognize how powerful that was. But she was trained for that. Let me just tell you. All right. She was trained to be able to deliver that to you. And you have something so prized there. And I'm glad that you recognized it. And I'm glad that you could tie the power of that to the moment that you knew forever was like in the making for you guys. And so that's really beautiful. So Siegel, tell us about your love story from your perspective.
So from my perspective, it was something that I didn't see coming. So I had dated before, but we had broke up. And then I was trying to find myself. And in finding myself, I knew that I needed to let go of some things in order to be who God wanted me to be for me, for him, and then for my future mate. And so with that, I took some time to just be by myself, figure my things out. And then I was like, okay, like it's been a couple years now, like it's time to get going. Mm-hmm. And so I got on Tinder just because I was bored at work. I never meant to meet anyone. I never meant to go out on a date because I thought that was very weird and creepy. And so like I got on there just to pass some time. And so then I got off because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do this. Like I'm literally not going to meet a dude on here. And so like I got off and then I gave it to God because like I have those moments where I'm like, I have nothing left. I can't do anymore. Like, I can't make this happen on my own. And so I remember the night and I was like, God, I'm just giving this to you. Like, there's nothing that I can do. Mm-hmm. And so then Elliot, he had already messaged me on Tinder, but I didn't respond to him. And I was just like, ew, like, just stop. Like, of course I thought it was cute. But like what he said, I was like, no, Elliot, like, I don't want to talk to you. And so I didn't respond to him. And then I actually ended up knowing one of his friends through work. And so I saw his picture on his friend's Instagram and I was like, oh, you know Elliot? I was like, tell me about him. And so I think that, well, no, not I think, but I know that was the thing that led me to talk to Elliot because I actually had proof that Elliot was a good dude. And I didn't just have to go find that out on my own. So that was the start for me. And then from there, it was just us talking and hanging out. And I did have a wall up because like I hadn't really dated a dude in a long time. It's like, I'm not going to just jump into a relationship just to say I have someone, but I want someone who's actually going to be my life partner and that we can be on the same page starting our relationship. So that's where I was.
Okay, now you have just discredited all the stereotypes about Tinder because, you know, I'm an old fogey, I guess, and you hear the rumors about what Tinder is all about, but praise the Lord that Jesus was there in this tender moment and that he was able to raise up someone who understood and accepted the value of having a relationship with him, because I know that that's important to you, and that he was also able to have someone that you knew and reasonably trusted that you could ask about him. And it's no coincidence that for as short as whatever that time frame was that you jumped on and that you jumped off, that he happened to look and he happened to message. And it just shows that the timing can always be so perfected in how things work out. That's so beautiful. Like you just totally gave me a whole new perspective of Tinder, because all I know is what I see in the movies, but now you've given me a really good impression. That's really, really awesome. One of the things that I found very interesting as a person on the outside, like I don't know the whole depths of all of your relationship, which I'm sure we'll unpack. But one of the things I found very interesting is the presence of your parents with both of you in this process. And that tells me a couple of things. One, that you value the relationship that you have with your parents, to have them in the process with you, right? That they're not just on the outside looking in. It's not a whole lot of people that post pictures of their mama and daddy on their timeline, but I see them on y'all's, okay? And so how important was family to the dating process that you guys went through? Tell me about family and how that interplay. Either of you can answer.
Okay. So for me, I'm like real big on communicating with my mom. I always want to get her approval on any woman, just so I know, all right, she might see something I don't. So I think right away when I actually really got serious about Siegel, I came to her and was just like, Mom, what you think? You know, you didn't seen her before or whatever. You met her for the first time, talked to her. And she was like, she's a really sweet girl. She's quiet, but she's God-fearing. She's what you prayed for, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So she was like, if this is the woman you prayed for and God put it in your life, you should take a chance and really see, you know, where it could go. Mm-hmm. So getting her approval, and I think she was honestly probably the first woman my dad met before too. So that was really big, and he right away approved of her. And so for me, it was like, okay, perfect. And then her mom, even meeting her mom, was just like, she took me in like she knew me for years. And I'm like,
She's
wow.
a good hugger. She is a really good hugger.
Yes.
Amazing. So that alone got me, but I don't know. She might have another perspective on it.
No, it was good. So at first, when I met his mom, we were kind of in a talking stage, and we hadn't really said like we were dating or whatever. And so I met her. I still hadn't met his dad, but like I told my mom. So at first, I didn't tell my mom that I met him on Tinder because I knew she was going to trip out about that. And so I was like, Mom, I met this guy. He seems nice. Like, we talked and all that stuff. And so she was like, okay, Siegel. She's like, just take your time and be smart. And like, you know, my mom. So like, I know that she is looking out for my best interest. And then I appreciate parents who not only look out for their child, but also who their child is dating. So when it came to Elliot's mom, like, we've had conversations, and I've never had to worry about the type of person he is because, first of all, I've seen his family. I've paid attention to him enough. And then his mom hasn't told me anything negative about him or like that I need to watch for these signs or characteristics or anything like that. So I really did appreciate that. But if she would have told me, I would have listened because it's like, if she has the heart enough to tell me and I'm not her child and she's looking out for me, then I respect that. But along the way, like our families have gotten to know each other and we all gel. Like my mom has known his dad since he was 18. So it's like, it's a very small world and it's just been a good experience.
Oh, that's so awesome. And what about your sisters and your brother? How did that all go?
Yes. So they all like him. We'll just start with there. So Deja and Benita, because they live here, we've gotten to hang out as couples and just like get that time where the dudes can spend time with each other and, you know, act like brothers or whatever. And then Deja and Benita, they do approve of him. They like him. So yeah, it's just a good fit for us all.
Okay. And Elliot, do you have siblings?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much the oldest. So I have a bunch of younger brothers and one sister. And for the most part, my brother, he thought I was rushing into it. He was the one that was just like, I mean, how long have you known her? Do you really know her? And once he met her and got to know her, he was like, okay, I can't find one flaw in her. Like, she really is like this. So I was like, I told you. But once I think all my siblings right away like loved her. And we actually got to spend time with my sister. So she got a chance to really kind of just mingle with her one-on-one and get to know each other. So I think that worked out really well. Yeah. And I think, you know, relationships are so different, but family, at least I know from Siegel's perspective, they're very close knit and it's a valued part. And so I'm so glad that your families have come together. The acceptance is there because in the days ahead, when you really need them as the rocks that you guys are relying upon for whatever you have to face, because believe me, life is going to happen. At least you know that there are a crowd around you who want the best for you together. And that's what you really want. So I'm glad to hear that those impressions are strong and that the family is there celebrating with you all in this moment. So you guys are like, what, 24 days into this now? Is it a whole 24? Or is it a little bit more? No, it's about 30, 32, right? Okay, I don't want to slight y'all now. Okay, 32 days into being married. And so you definitely have a lifetime ahead of you. What I am interested in is what do you dream about when you consider growing old together? And the reason I want to fix you on that is because that's something that I often say to my husband is that we're growing old together, right? My expectation is old together, right? We're growing old together. So tell me, what do you dream about when you think about that a whole 32 days in? Siegel.
So I would say growing old together, to me, that means that like it's a partnership. So I want to be able to be who he needs when he can't be that. And I need him to do that for me when I can't. And so it's us like yeah, there are those roles that certain people play, but knowing that I can take on those roles, and he can do the same for me. I want us to be able to just enjoy having fun together. At some point, we're gonna have to stop working because I can't deal with people telling me that I can't take vacation or anything like that. So just being able to have fun, to obviously pray together and build that godly family together, that's really important to me. I just want to be the person that Elliot needs as a wife. And so I know that that is a continual process, and it has a lot to do with me letting go of my old thoughts or habits or whatever. But I know even before we got married, I had like this moment where I was thinking like, marriage is hard work. Like we for real about to do this. But I know like doesn't have to be like bad hard work or like stupid hard work, but it's going to be hard. It's going to take some effort for us to be able to make it through, but it's something that we can do. And another thing I was thinking about is that people say, and they live happily ever after, but happily ever after, you work for that. It's not just a given thing, it's an earned thing. So as long as we keep putting in the work to do it, that's what I'm looking forward to. And like choosing each other, and even when we don't want to, or when we're having those days of you really getting on my nerves right now and I don't know like when this is going to stop, but still choosing you at the end of the day. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's awesome. I love how you articulated that. Elliot, tell me about your dreams.
For me, I look at legacy. Like when we do leave this world, what do we leave behind as a couple, as friends, as lovers? Like creating a family, having kids, being able to say, this is what we have to showcase what our hard work is. And I know for me, it's just really growing old with a best friend and really seeing that growth between two individuals. Like I never would have thought like I would be married. I mean, I've always had aspirations of it, but I never really thought I could find somebody that would be perfect for me. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just creating that long-term just legacy together and really growing old and showcasing the world what two people can do together.
Yeah. And don't lose that. You know, keep those dreams before you, even as they transform to new dreams and, you know, new aspirations. And Siegel, as you were talking, one of the things that came to mind for me as you were talking, that I wish I could have had a mind shift with earlier on. We hear that marriage is hard, and believe me, it is hard, right? It will demand more of you. It's probably one of the most sacrificial things you will ever experience in your life, right? When you read 1 Corinthians 13, it's nothing but sacrifice. That's all that love is. But it's a hard thing, but tell yourself it's good and it's worth it. Just keep telling yourself it's good and it's worth it. And when those difficult times come, one of the things that I often center myself on and remind myself of is I'm Team Taylor, right? I'm on his team, right? You know, we got different positions. He might be point guard, and I might be, you know, just bringing the ball down the court, right? Or whatever the right analogy is, but we are on the same team. And when it gets difficult, remind yourself of that, right? Even if it takes you saying it out loud, I'm Team Dozier, right? You know, so that you can get fixed back and get removed from us against one another to us being, it's almost like changing the handset from facing to we're pushing out against whatever is coming at us, because it can be good. It doesn't have to be difficult. We don't have to accept that. There will be moments that are difficult, but as long as you're aligned together, you will progress through it. And there's nothing stopping any of that. I wish I didn't have so many limiting beliefs. I believe if I went back to your seat to hear you say, we got to figure out how I don't have to go to work so I can be on vacation more, like that was so far-fetched to me. But boy, oh boy, I wish I would have figured that out a whole lot sooner, right? So don't put a limitation on what you want together. You are a dynamic duo and you can have it. And so I'm just excited. I can't wait to see how you guys blossom, but keep dreaming together, keep teaming together, and you will achieve all of those things. Okay, Siegel, tell me about your first date.
Oh, so our first date was pretty weird. So when I first got to his apartment, I noticed that Elliot has a nice butt. And so like, this is my first time meeting him. And so I was like, oh, I like that. And so like, I was smacking him and I didn't even know him. And he was like, you doing too much.
He probably thought you was weird.
Right, he did. And so after that, we went to Bel Air for tacos. And the whole time during dinner, I'm thinking, I'm all in my head. I'm thinking too much about this. I'm like, first of all, he was dancing while he was eating. I didn't know anyone who danced while they were eating. And so I'm just like, no. And then it was just like other little stuff that I was overthinking. So I wasn't really in the moment, enjoying the moment, but I was there. And then after that, we went to the movies and I fell asleep a few times. So it was just not the best first date, but at least we tried, obviously, after that to have some better dates.
Okay. All right, great. So what was your most favorite date, Elliot?
I would say my birthday, like us going to Nashville.
Uh-huh.
It was just like one of those trips where I'm like, all right, we're not worrying about money. We're not worrying about time. Like, we're just going to enjoy each second we're here. And I think that was probably our first time. Well, it was her first time being there with me. So just having that experience together was amazing. But we ended up going to a concert. We Top Golf. And now we made that a thing where any state we go to Top Golf, whatever.
Okay.
But otherwise, no, it was just that experience going out of town with her for the first time and seeing how she, interacted with trying new things and just being open. And I think that alone was like, yo, I can travel with her. She's fun. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Keep making memories. Keep making memories. And coming up with those unique things that you do. Like you said, when we go somewhere, we look for a Top Golf. Make that your thing. Keep making those memories. And Chuck dances when he eats stuff that he likes too. I don't know what it is. I remember the first, well, not the first time, but one of the times I made macaroni and cheese. And I mean, he like jumped up and was like dancing around the room dancing. And I thought, oh my gosh, is this okay? And so I think it's just a sign of enjoyment. And so, but I get you, because I was looking like, what is going on here? All right. So a lot of people say the dating scene is difficult, right? And figuring out how to navigate that. I know, Siegel, you were really intentional about yourself and your time and your availability. Were you really into dating, Elliot? What was that like for you?
So for me, I had just crossed over from my fraternity. So Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, shout it out. But anyways, so for me, I was pretty much trying to date everybody. And so I really wasn't thinking about it settling down.
That is a Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity thing too. Keep going.
But no, I wasn't really trying to settle down at the moment. But I think over time, I kind of just got tired of it. Like it was kind of the same thing, same women, same dates. So, and I was getting up there in age as well. Like I'm not old, but I felt like I was compared to my peers. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna actually kind of look for something and see what else is out there. And the whole Tinder situation happened. But honestly, I really wasn't looking at the time. So
yeah, I got me a Kappa man too, girl. Yes. And so I definitely can say they are very, very nice gentlemen. They are very, very, very nice gentlemen. So let's keep going. You guys had talked about prior relationships and experiencing love before. What lessons did you learn from those experiences that you think helped prepare you for your love experience and your life partnership now, Elliot?
For me, I would say it taught me a lot about myself and what I would put up with. As far as how much do you really love a person and what levels of love would you go to keep that person. Like, I know I put up with a lot in my past relationships, and I think that really kind of let me know, okay, it's limitations on what I want to go through. And so when I did plan for my next relationship, it was, okay, I know what I'm open to. I know what I'm not dealing with. I know how long I'm going to deal with it, and pretty much making sure I was really like open and honest from the get-go, just letting the person know this is what I want. So I would say my past relationship really prepared me for that. But as far as like actually being in love and stuff like that from the past, I would say this is probably my first real experience, like actually feeling what love really is. So.
Okay. And what lessons did you learn for yourself, Siegel?
I guess the lessons that I learned was to not be so, not to be so emotional, but almost like that. Like I don't have to react and respond to everything. To take the time to actually think about it. Like, is this actually a big deal, or am I just in my feelings right now? Is this something that needs to be discussed? So many times I'll just be quiet because I know that words have power. And it's like, if it won't matter soon, do I really need to say something, or I can just get over it? So that was one of the things that I realized, like, to not just be so emotionally volatile. And then I could say I have been in a relationship where I did experience love. So that makes me, it's almost like a marker for me now. So it's like, if I was able to love that person like this, how much more can I love my husband now? So just to make sure that I'm putting in that extra effort, because that stuff before, maybe I shouldn't have done it for that person, but because this is who God wants me to be with, then I should be giving him all the love that I could possibly give him. So it just helps me to be mindful of just to not slack in what I'm giving to him.
And you're going to discover the depths of your love with your husband, because you ain't seen nothing yet. Not that he's a bad guy, but the experiences of life, as you're going through those experiences, it's going to put pressure on your love zone, your love aptitude, your love gate, and you're going to have a chance to be all in with it. And what I would say to you is, don't hold yourself back. This is your husband. Be willing to be all in. Like, if there was nobody else that you wanted to really give yourself fully to, he's the one that you want to give yourself fully to and be all in with. And so I am glad that you had a courageous heart and spirit to find love again and open up yourself to love again. And when you are challenged to go deeper in it, allow yourself to go deeper in it, because that's one of the things that's going to bind you guys together. And that love, peace and truth and authenticity, that's going to help you go the distance. That's awesome. Because learning to love again is not an easy thing. A broken heart is a very hard thing to get over. And so when you get to the point where you allow yourself to kind of open up again, you're a little tentative, like, I don't know, this is a really precious thing in here, being my heart. And so the fact that you were able to do that so courageously and take those giant steps forward are powerful. What did you discover about the power that you had when you did that? What did you discover about yourself?
I discovered how to love myself more. So with that, when you love yourself, you know what you will and what you won't tolerate. You know your worth, and you know that I'm looking for someone who can meet it and match it. And if they can't, I'm not going to waste my time. So I don't have to lower my standards just because they're not the one who's going to meet my standards. So that was my thing. And just processing through, and then also having my relationship with God, like that grew through that whole time, because I'm like, okay, God, like, clearly it didn't happen for a reason, but I need you to show me. I need you to show me what I'm dealing with, and I need you to show me what my purpose is and what you have for me. And so I believe that's when I really found out what I should be doing. And then God was like, okay, like she's faithful in this season. She's faithful when it comes to spending time with me and things like that. So that's what I believe.
That's beautiful. And so, Elliot, I would say to you, knowing that she had to get past that hurdle, how hard was it to get her attention, to say, I really am serious and I'm really not him, right? How hard was it, to get her attention? And did you have to commit to, and what did you have to commit to in order for her to see that you were sincere?
So this is crazy. So like our first month of dating, we were like total opposites, where honestly, we both kind of didn't really know if it was going to work. So I think we one day she was at work and I literally called her and was like, what is it, that you need from me in order for us to work? Like, what do you want? How many days? Like, what are you looking for? And I think we just agreed, hey, let's give it a month where I won't look at what I used to love and what I used to like. And instead, I'm just accepting you for you. And that was probably the biggest thing. So I think once we both allowed ourselves to do that, it was, all right, this is who I am. This is who you are. And I'm going to love you despite it. So for her, I think the biggest thing was consistency. That's what she needed to see. Honesty was the biggest thing, and just communication. So just doing that over time, we both were able to just mesh well. And I mean, from there, everything was pretty much good.
That's beautiful. I love that. So Siegel, tell me how he gets you in a way that helped you to know he was the one.
So it's like little things that matter most to me. So sometimes like I don't eat a lot. And so like I'll go hours and it'll be like 4 o'clock and I haven't eaten. And so one day I came over and he went to Jimmy John's and he got my favorite sandwich. And then I usually get jalapenos on my sandwich, but I knew he didn't get jalapenos on the sandwich because I thought he didn't listen to me when I'd be making my orders. And so I went in the refrigerator to get some jalapenos, and then I opened the sandwich and there was jalapenos on there already. And I was just like, oh my goodness. So it's just the little things that he does that lets me know that he's actually paying attention or that he's listening to me.
That's beautiful. Elliot, how does she get you in a way that lets you know she was the one?
So for me, the perfect thing she does is details. Like it's the little details that she'll always remember. Like say we're in a rush to get out the house and I'd be like, oh, did you get X, Y, and Z? And you make sure to do this and this. She already did it and I don't even have to worry about it. So it's literally the smallest details that she'll just do. Like even us going to the grocery store, I could be in there and might forget something and she already remembers it and got it written down on the list. So it's like smallest detail she's always remembering, and that is so perfect for me.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. So did you guys talk about marriage often? Like when did that enter into the picture, over the course of the time that you guys spent together? Was that a constant conversation? It came like month 2, day 1, like when did that kind of enter in?
So for us, once we started, like when we were talking, our thing was, okay, what are you trying to get out of this relationship? So being intentional at the beginning, that's what we were looking for, because I knew I wanted to be married and have a husband and start this life together. And because I'm older than him, I'm like, I need to know what you want as well. So when we started talking, we had that conversation like, what do you want out of this? Are you looking for marriage? Are you just trying to date and then be done and move on to the next one, or what? So from the beginning, we were really intentional about it. And I believe that's why we put the work in. So when he called me at work and was like, are you happy? I was like, I'm really not. But the fact that he was able to recognize that I wasn't and he wanted to work on it, that helped me to see that I can really go far with him. Like we can talk about anything, we can make it work, we can overcome it, we can figure it out together. But the intentionality from the beginning was how we got here.
That's good. That's really good. So Elliot, tell me about the proposal.
Okay, so the proposal was one of those things where, so she's super inquisitive, where she's like always trying to guess things and put 2 and 2 together. So I was just like, all right, how can I do it so that she wouldn't have no clue? She's real close with her sisters and her mom. So I was like, I don't really want to tell them too much, but I'll, just try to get their tips, any information they may have to kind of psych her out. So what I had them do was, since COVID was going on and we were limited to what we could do, I pretty much had them make videos. So each one sent me like a special video congratulating her and everything. And she said she liked this waterfall at Grant Park. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I want to do it at the waterfall so that she would never, you know, like we were just going to act like we we're going on a walk, take pictures, and then I would surprise her there. But I didn't want to let her know when it was going to happen. So we went ring shopping probably 3-4 months prior. Mm-hmm. And so this entire time, she didn't know that I had the ring already and everything like that. But we ended up going to the park. And so we're like, oh, we're just going to take some pictures. The issue is we couldn't find a waterfall. We literally walked around that park for about 2 hours, could not find a waterfall. So I was just like, well, all right, let me see if I can just find a good little background and maybe that'll work. And it'll make it seem like I'm still taking pictures and surprise her there. So we found like a nice little scenery. And I was like, oh, we can take pictures right here. So I pulled out the tripod. And as I'm pulling out the tripod, I'm putting the ring in my pocket at the same time. But I'm making sure she's not watching me and everything. So we pretty much set it up like we're taking the pictures. And so I'm like, all right, dang, it's not working. It's not working. So I'm like, all right, we're finna take another picture. So she's like kind of looking around and whatever. And as soon as she looks around, she turns back around. I'm already on my knee and proposing to her with the camera still going. So it was pretty much recording rather than it taking a picture.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Were you surprised, Siegel?
I was. So I had a feeling that like it was gonna come, but I didn't know that it would have happened then. And the fact that we took so long, like looking for this waterfall, like I wasn't thinking about nothing else then. I'm like, we just need to go because we're gonna miss our dinner reservation. But I was pleasantly surprised and it was a wonderful time.
Oh, that's beautiful. So were you nervous, Elliot?
Oh my goodness. Like, I think that entire morning, I was literally like, oh man, how am I going to say this? What am I going to say? And so I wrote everything out, tried to memorize it. And I just was like, I don't want to mess up at all. So I had the piece of paper, but pretty much, yeah, I was nervous, shaking, just trying to make it seem like she wouldn't know anything too. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful moment to cherish forever. I'm glad you got it on video. I am so glad you were able to do that. So Siegel, saying yes was huge. And when you consider how big and life-changing saying yes would be for you both, how did you know you had seen enough of who he was, shared enough experiences, and was ready for that big step that yes would mean?
Just because of the time that we spent together and the time that we spent with each other's family. Like, Elliot's a talker, so like he just loves to talk, and I'm okay with sitting in silence sometimes, but like because he's a talker, we always had stuff to talk about, whether it was just something random, something in the news or whatever. So like him being a talker, that helped me to see who he was and what he cared about. And we really never have like arguments or blowouts or anything like that. And so the fact that that was good for me. But then also when we did have those disagreements, he wasn't disrespectful. He didn't like call me out my name or anything like that. I never felt like I was in harm's way because of the disagreement. And then also that he had his relationship with God. Like that was one of my non-negotiables. Like if you didn't have a relationship with God, you wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. And so because he did, and the fact that he actually did Bible plans with me. So I brought up the fact that I was like, we should do Bible plans and just see where we are spiritually. And he did them and we still do them to this day. And so just the effort that he put in, that helped me to see that he was the one for me. Mm-hmm. After he proposed, I did have this moment where it's like life is about to change. Like what's happening? Mm-hmm. But it was never like, I felt like I made the wrong decision by saying yes to him. Okay, that was good.
All right, so the wedding day, was it a day? Who had the vision for the day?
That was all her.
Okay, all right. So she had more of the vision. And did y'all plan it together, or did she just kind of run with it and you just like, okay, just tell me where I need to be?
So with the wedding, I planned it mostly because Elliot would say, he's like, well, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm like, well, it matters to me. So like, I'm going to do what I need to do. But like, I would ask him for input and he'd be like Siegel, like, I don't care about decorations. It doesn't matter. He's like, whatever you want to do, just do it. So like, I had the vision of it and things like that. And he's like, he always say this to me. He's like, you've been waiting for this for so long, haven't you? I'm like, yes, I have. So let me do what I want to do. So yes, it was beautiful though.
Okay. And so did it match up to everything you imagined and had planned for?
Yes, it did. So a lot of it I did on my own just because I didn't want to pay for other people to do it. So I did a lot of DIY stuff and I actually enjoyed DIY stuff. So it was kind of like it had more meaning to me because I actually had my hand in it. Mm-hmm. And so like I was able to say, this is what I want. And I spent many days waking up real early or staying up real late to just get things done. But overall, I'm excited and I'm happy about like how it turned out. And then it made me think like, oh, I should do this for other people. So I don't know.
It's a lot of work. You just have to figure out what aspects of it you want to do. But it was beautiful. It was very, very beautiful. What was the one thing in particular that you just really wanted for the day? Like it was like, it has to have this.
I know for me, I think the biggest thing was just all my people showing up that I invited. I would say that was probably the biggest thing. Like, I know with COVID going on, people are going to make some excuses or whatever, but I was just like, as long as the people I'm closest with showed up, that's all I really cared about.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was my mom walking me down the aisle because she's been my mom and my dad. And you just know how tight we is. That's my girl. So she had to walk me down the aisle. And then because I love coffee, I just knew I had to have coffee there. So that was my thing that I knew I needed.
Okay. Those are special moments and details. So Elliot, tell me about the honeymoon.
Okay. So pretty much I planned everything out, the honeymoon. So we went to Cancun, and the resort we stayed in was an all-inclusive adults only resort. Mm-hmm. And so from the beginning, I was just like month ahead planning out where we're going to eat, dinner reservations, what we were going to do as far as the excursion. So we ended up being able to do a lot. We did the spa like twice. We had dinner dates every night. We were able to do excursions like we did snorkeling to the cenotes, and we literally tried a little bit of everything. So the experience overall to me was amazing, and that was like my first time being there in Cancun. So I was like, yeah, I gotta go back.
Awesome.
So every day, like we wouldn't even be doing anything, but he'd be like, this is a vibe. He said like, this is a vibe like 5 times a day. I'm like, it is a vibe, but yes. So he had a good time and he did a great job planning.
Well, it sounds like you guys had like the best of both worlds. Like you had a wedding day that you really wanted, and Elliot had a honeymoon that he really wanted. So everybody kind of got their treat in it all. Okay, cool. That worked out really well. All right, Siegel, you made a vow to forever and you have lots of love and life ahead of you. What's the one thing you sense in your heart and spirit that Elliot needs from you that you promised to give him?
I think it's what I said earlier about partnership, just making sure I'm there for him and making sure that we can be on the same team. Like you said, it's not us against each other, but us together against everything else. So partnership is the main thing for me. And then also me not losing myself within the marriage and not just trying to help him all the time, but still forsaking who I am. So making sure that I follow my purpose and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do for me. That's also going to help our marriage to flourish, because I just feel like Elliot would not, first of all, I wouldn't be happy if I wasn't fulfilling my purpose and trying to be who God has called me to be. And then it's like, what help am I really to him if I'm not happy within myself? So partnership.
Yes. Don't lose that. Don't lose that. Don't lose that ever, because when you shrink, discount, and disregard, resentment can begin to build. And resentment works against the intimacy of your relationship. And so prioritizing yourself is so critically important, and understanding that your purpose matters and pursuing that matters is critically important as well. So don't ever lose that. What about you, Elliot? What do you sense in your heart and spirit that Siegel needs from you now that you promised to give to her?
Pretty much pushing her to be the best version of herself. I think since day one, it's always been, all right, I know you can do more. I know you can do more. And she hates like me pushing her.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now she's comfortable with it because she expects like, okay, he's going to do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always going to push her to continue to grow and be better than what she was the day before, because I just see her potential.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say another thing is communicating, making sure that I'm still as open and honest as I was from day one, and
Mm-hmm.
making sure her needs are met. Whatever she needs or whatever she wants, she's voicing that to me and letting me know. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think if you guys prioritize pleasing one another, you'll go the distance. Just work on pleasing one another and making that a priority. You guys are beautiful together, just simply beautiful. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Around these parts, I try to encourage everyone to build a life that they love without apology. And I want to encourage you to do that every single day. Build a life that you love, one that you love together, and it will continue to just submit your love for one another in your relationship. I'm gonna close out with my life, love, and happiness questions. All right. And the first one is this: what's your life wisdom? What would you tell your younger self about life if you could, Elliot?
For me, so this could be about anything.
Mm-hmm.
I would say don't have expectations, like be open to change. That's probably the number one thing, being open to change, because life happens.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have everything on a checklist on how it's supposed to happen. So.
Mm-hmm. Be committed to where you're going, but not how you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. What about you, Siegel? What would you tell your younger self about life if you could?
I would say to have faith and have patience, just because faith is obviously believing in what we don't see. And like Elliot said, like we don't know, we can have like this clear path of what we think life is going to do or how it's going to play out, but it doesn't work like that. So just have faith to know that your end goal you will get there. You don't know how you'll get there, but you'll get there. Also patience, because so many times we want to speed up the process, or we forsake things because we make our own way. So we don't let God work it out for us, and we try to work it out ourselves. And so we end up actually missing more that way than by having patience. So faith and patience.
Oh, that's really good. That's really, really good. Love wisdom. What would you tell your younger self about love if you could, Siegel?
Ooh, yeah. That it's necessary, but I would say to love yourself first, because like I said before, like when you love yourself, you know your worth, and when you know your worth, that determines what you will allow in every area of your life. So to love yourself first, and if you don't know how to love yourself, find out and have that relationship with God, because He'll tell you, or He'll teach you how to love yourself.
That's good. Good stuff. Elliot? Your love wisdom.
She literally took what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, yeah, loving yourself, literally figuring out what you love and what you like about yourself. I know for me going through my journey, the first thing I did was literally figure out what I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I would take myself on dates, like little stuff like that, because then it's like, okay, I know what I like to do. I know what I'll put up with. I know what I love. I know who I like to be around. And then you figure out what you want to deal with going forward. So loving yourself is definitely number one.
That's awesome. I like that. I really do. Take yourself on a date. Okay. That's good stuff. And then finally, your happiness wisdom. What would you tell your younger self about happiness if you could, Elliot?
I would say find the one thing out of the day that was probably the best thing that happened. Like it's an optimistic moment in every day I say that we go through. And it's just finding that small thing that'll make you appreciate that day. So literally finding the good in something.
That's really good. You guys got old souls. Okay. Siegel, what's your happiness wisdom? What would you tell your younger self about happiness if you could?
I would say that happiness is a choice. So it's not that, so I can already be happy within myself, or I could not be happy. But if Elliot comes in and I'm not happy and he does something, like, I have a choice. So happiness is a choice, and to choose happiness, because so many times we can choose to stay stuck and down and depressed and just, but when you choose happiness, like, better things come your way. You have a more positive outlook on life. So you have to choose happiness.
That's awesome. So let me just close out with this. I always throw something at you guys, that I feel like I just want to help, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that you guys are doing Bible studies together. Keep that always. In the moments of frustration, in the moments of difficulty, don't walk away from that. Make sure that's a mainstay, so that you can invest in growing together, and in growing in the Word of God. Pray together, so you can hear one another's prayers. Pray for one another in the presence of one another, so that you can hear what they see in you that needs to be brought before the Lord. Keep that going. And then make intimacy a priority. Okay. And one of the things that I started a few years ago was the First Wives Club. And the First Wives Club is not about being his first wife. It's not about being a first lady. The First Wives Club is about stepping into the priority position that you have of being first and not losing yourself. And there are so many women who struggle with intimacy. In fact, the question that I put in the group today was, how can we encourage each other about how to go all in? That's your husband. Go for it. That's all I'm going to tell you. Just go for it. Go all in. And enjoy one another and discover one another and make that a priority to be together that way. Because it's a blessing and it's something that God gave you. It's part of the package. So get all your benefits, okay? Is what I would say. I thank you guys for opening yourself up to shine. Be a light to those who are around you. Let them see good love. Okay. Be a light to those who are around you and let them see good love. And I will close out, as I always do, by saying success looks so good on you. And thank you so much for sharing your story with me. And I wish you nothing but God's blessings always. And if you need something, call me. I'm always just a call away, and just say, hey, this is going on. What should I do? And I will do my best to kind of help you through it. I am always just a call away. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it, beautiful. Thank you for tuning in. Don't ever forget that you truly deserve life, love, and all the happiness your heart can hold. Be relentless in building a life you love without apology. I'm Denise Taylor, and you can always find me in our free Facebook community. Life, love, in the pursuit of happiness, easy to find. Now, if you want more information about my success superpowers, as I'm sure you do, download my free Success Superpowers ebook at DeniseTaylor.live/podcast. And one last thing, always embrace your power and go.